Well, I don't think the Clintons should be above the law. She said part of the reason why she didn't obey the law was convenience, but I don't think convenience should trump national security. Can we trust Hillary Clinton to produce all of her email when we couldn't trust her to obey the law that she had to use a State Department email? The only way we get to the truth is by an independent investigation, and I do believe that public opinion can provoke that, so I'm not giving up on this.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we can't even trust Hillary Clinton, apparently, to run a legitimate press conference. Joining us now is James Taranto, columnist for the Wall Street Journal and editor of OpinionJournal.com. Hello, sir.
Hi, how are you?
All right, so we all, if you think back, we all remember Hillary Clinton at the beginning of the press conference because everybody was shouting questions out, and she said, wait a minute, as you you wrote a great piece, Caesar's Wife, at the Journal, and she said, Nick is calling on people. And when I heard that the first guy was a Turkish reporter, I was like, what? So who is Nick and what was going on there?
Well, Nick apparently is her press aide, and at least at the beginning, she was deferring to him to decide who to call on. Now, the explanation I heard for calling on the Turkish guy, who asked the ultimate softball question, which was, would this be happening to you if you were a man? But apparently the answer to that is that when they have a press conference at the UN, it's customary to call on the head of the UN Correspondents Association first. The head of the UN Correspondents Association was away on business, and so the Turkish guy was the next in line, the vice head or whatever.
That is wild. And of course, in answer to that question, which you believe and I believe was a setup question, to play the sex card right at the beginning of the press conference, she should have said, any decent person would have said, absolutely not. This has nothing to do with my gender. Let's not start that. But of course, I don't know. You'll have to ask other people, raising the specter and keeping it out there.
Yeah, and she said that with a smile. We should note also that she began her prepared remarks before she started even taking questions. She began by going through this speech that she had just given about women's rights, and then she changed the subject to Iran and the letter from the 47 senators, which I don't know that she helped herself politically by denouncing the senators, but I do think she was aiming to help herself with the Democratic base. Then she turned finally to the email, which was the reason everyone was there. And of course, there were some tough questions asked in due course.
Yeah.
Not enough because she was only there for 20 minutes, but somebody did ask her, what assurance does the public have that the emails you destroyed were all personal emails and not work emails? And she wasn't able to satisfactorily answer that question, of course, because there really is no satisfactory answer.
No, and would you be willing to give it the server's going to stay hers, the whole thing? But let me ask you, maybe you know. There are some people who are saying, but I got to tell you, Lanny Davis had no answer for me when I asked him right after the press conference. And here's a man who's worked in the White House. I said, why is it that my BlackBerry, and I'm a technical idiot, why could I have 3 email accounts on my one BlackBerry that's 6 years old, and Hillary would have needed 2 phones to have 2 separate email accounts? Why couldn't she have put them both on one phone? Because her excuse was she didn't want to carry two phones. And he had no answer. Others have had no answer. Head of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton, said there is no law that would prohibit that. So do you know of any?
I don't know of any. It seems plausible to me that the government has some special requirements that you can't commingle personal and government email on the government-issued phone. We don't know if the BlackBerry that she was using starting in 2009 was issued by the government or was procured by her personally. So it's all a little bit unclear.
So what do you think is going to happen here? Are we ever going to know? I mean, and by the way, we were led to believe before the press conference it was 55,000 emails. It's 55,000 pages of email, so it's a lot less.
Yeah, well, that point was reported in the New York Times in last week, but it was not made very much of. I wrote a column early this week that really highlighted that 55,000 pages, and more importantly, these were not emails; these were printouts, printed pages.
Right.
There were dozens of boxes, according to the Times, consisting of paper. Which means that they can't be subjected to electronic discovery.
James, she doesn't miss a beat. She has herself covered. James, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much. Read James at the Wall Street Journal, opinionjournal.com. The closing bell is next.